Not Worth the Time with Wade Taylor. What's up, everybody? Welcome back to Not Worth the Time. We're here. We're doing it. It's another fun-filled episode. I hope so. I say that at the top with the most confidence that something will come out of this, you know? I'm trying to just build up and have some kind of entertainment value to give you guys something to do for a half hour and to give me something to do for about 2 hours. Why 2 hours, you say? Well, it turns out, guys, the little peek behind here, I edit this podcast down to the half hour you see. That's right. It's not all one take. That's a lie. This is all one take. It's just like a 2-hour process to edit and do all the shit. And in reality, isn't that what I'm really doing? Distracting myself from the ability to sit and wonder about the choices I've made in life. Let's sit here instead and yammer to myself into a microphone and then watch it back and see myself in a camera and listen to the audio of me being an absolute moron for a half hour. And reading weird articles online. It's just justifying weird behavior, you know? It's definitely the lack of having a family is definitely playing a huge factor in that. Well, whatever. It's funny. It is weird when you pull back to how meta that is. It just pull back the curtain of the weirdness of what it is. But here we are. We're here helping you guys do our thing. We're doing the thing like we always do. I did come to a realization before doing this because as a 31-year-old child, I was playing video games, putting this off as much as possible. You know, just like a 15-year-old doing homework, you know? I know it's 10 o'clock and I need to be in bed right now. I need to get sleep because I have 5 a.m. basketball practice. And I'm not going to be able to go to basketball practice, get done with that, shower up, and I'm not going to be able to do this math assignment that's 45 fucking questions in the 15 minutes you're sitting at the lunch table bullshitting with all your friends before the first class bell rings, okay? That's not going to happen. I can't even copy answers fast enough in 15 minutes. You can't cheat your way to finishing that assignment. No, you can't. But instead of doing it, you know, right there at 10 o'clock, you know, just just making my bed that I laid in, you know, and just sitting there and doing the homework and then staying up and then going to bed as much as possible. Nope. Just sit there and play video games. Push it off. Just push that fucking responsibility off. That's what I was doing with this podcast. Playing Halo, dude. Just playing a first-person shooter, playing Halo Infinite, playing, you know, 12 to 15-year-olds, and then a lot of 30-year-old men my age who are still holding on to nostalgia, who are very good at this game, and I proceed to just get pwned like a fucking noob for 15 minutes each round, and then just continue to think, oh, no, this is dumb, and I sit there and go, how the fuck is that possible? You ever get killed in a video game and you just sit there and scream at it like, how's that possible? That doesn't make any fucking sense. It makes sense because you suck. That's right. I suck at video games. I always have, always will, and I have to announce it formally on the podcast, you guys. I got to retire from first-person shooters. I got to hang that rafter up. I don't even get to hang a banner up for my first-person shooter career, okay? It is not even subpar. It is in the basement, okay? I always liked playing them. I was never one of those dudes who had a great KOD ratio, you know? Or KD ratio, whatever the fuck the kids call it now. Yeah, I'm not good at them. But I like playing them. They are fun. But you have to dedicate way too much time and effort into getting good at it. And I think I've just gotten worse at it. Because, like, this game's been out for a while. I've been playing it a while. I was doing decent at it. And I have to say, I think once you turn 30, you lose a little bit of dexterity in the hands, okay? I think my trigger finger's slowing down, kids. I just can't keep up with them. I just can't do the 360 no scopes no more. You know, the frame rate's too fast. My old eyeballs can't keep up with the 360 no scopes. I gotta hang it up. So I think I gotta start playing old people games, dude. I do. I've been playing them before, but I guess it's time to dust them off and start playing. I gotta start playing the retirement video games. You know, Tiger Woods, PGA. I gotta start playing those. Gotta play some puzzle games. I gotta dust off the old Myst. Start solving puzzles. You know, because those puzzle games help keep your mind sharp. You know. I gotta download one of those mobile games that'll help me keep my mind strong as my, you know, Alzheimer's sets in. You know, I need one of those games for short-term memory. Start doing the crossword puzzles on the online. That's all Wordle was. Everybody thought that was like the coolest thing ever. It was a crossword puzzle without coming up with a clue. There's just no clue. You're just guessing. That's all it was. It was a new spin on a crossword puzzle. And everybody loved it. I did too. Let's be real. We were all working together. Some people were cheating, looking up the word of the day. If they didn't get it on their last attempt, they didn't want to lose their streak, which ruins the authenticity of it, okay? You can't be doing that. That's why I don't like people who mod their video games out as much, you know? I don't know. I like playing multiplayer games a little bit, but not as much as I have been. And I just need to give it up. I need to go back into my solo gaming world. You know? I got to go back into Skyrim. You know? I know I have 3 or 4 houses in that game, you know? I'm the dragon talking guy. I got a dragon breath, whatever they call you in that. I don't remember what it's called. Maybe I need to pick it back up again. I don't remember the references. But I know I was the shit in that game. I was somebody in Skyrim. I'm nobody in Halo, dude. I'm nobody on that ring of all these Spartans. You thought you were the last of the Spartan. Nuh-uh, bud. There's a bunch of them. Headhunting. Trying to take me out. And it's over. It's time that I, just like a Spartan, take out my Spartan death, you know? Like a real Spartan. Take it out on the battlefield. And I died on that battlefield. My last game, I died right there, dude. That was it. And I got to hang it up. Wow, how uninteresting is it that I'm retired? How uninteresting is this? That I'm talking about how I'm not going to play Halo anymore. Like a fucking dork. What a fucking loser. It is what it is. You know, I just don't have the good intelligence. I don't know. This is why I try to do stand-up. I'm much cooler in the real world. Not really. I'm very poor in the real world. Speaking of stand-up, thanks to everybody in Lincoln. Thanks to everybody at the Peachtree Brewing Company last week. And then I did another show that I'm forgetting right now. Oh, maybe it's on the back of this thing. What was it? Oh, yeah. And then when CB, when I did Third Base Barn Grill, that was a lot of fun. Thank you to all the people who are coming out to those shows. Those have been a ton of fun. Really enjoying it. If you want to see me do stand-up, next couple dates I have is this week when the podcast comes out, April 14th, Knoxville at Peachtree Brewing Company in Knoxville. April 15th, Creston, Iowa at Hot Air Brewery in Creston, Iowa. That's April 15th. So a couple weekend shows coming up. If you're listening to this, the week comes out, you will enjoy those shows. So thank you to everybody coming out. Lincoln was fun. I have now officially spent more time in Lincoln than I have in my entire life. It's an interesting city. Those college towns are everything's based around the university, but it's still not like a college town because they have some big banks and some industry there, but then still the college is their main thing. It's odd, and then it produces odd people, you know. It brings in these. It's funny because I'm sure out in Nebraska, it's kind of like what Des Moines is, because Des Moines is the biggest city probably in I would assume it's got to be between that and or Sioux City. Now I'm curious. But I'm pretty sure Des Moines is the biggest cities in Iowa. Let's find out. Yeah, it is Des Moines. Okay, that makes it. And it's only 250,000 people. Oh, okay. Wait a minute. The population of 2021. Metro population. Okay, so actually it's closer to 750,000 for like the metro. Okay, cool. I was about to say that's all it is around here. That's fucking crazy. But yeah. Uh, but I assume that place is a lot like what Des Moines is, where all the small town like people when we're like, oh, we're gonna go to the big city, we're gonna actually get out of here, and then they go there, and that's their version of a big city. Even though Omaha, is pretty close, but like that's like too much of a step up. Okay, you gotta go to the A team first. You gotta go play A ball in Lincoln, and if things are too boring and too slow in Lincoln, then you go up to you go up to Double A in Omaha, and then if you don't like that, then you just swing for the fences and go major league and go to New York City. That's what you do. It is an interesting city. I met some fun people at the show I did there at the Storm Cellar. That was a good time. I do like. I got to the bar a little early for the show and was hanging out and stuff. And I always forget that, like, when you have local town bars, like where I was at, it's like a neighborhood bar, right? And it used to be a speakeasy and stuff. And then they had just the regulars there. I got to kind of catch a regular squabble. Dude, it's so funny because they'll sit there and talk to each other. Like, these people only know each other as drinking partners. Okay, they only know each other stool side. Okay, they've only know this version of this person, which is they probably don't talk until they're 5 or 6 cocktails deep, and then they feel loose enough to open up and talk to each other. And I saw squabbles start to happen, and it's funny because then you're like, they're trying to be real with each other, but they actually don't really know each other. And they're trying to be like, no, bro, I'm just trying to hear I'm trying to be here for you, man. Like, I care about you and stuff. I'm always here to, like, listen. And it's just like, I don't think that's really how that works. That's not what real friendship is letting each other drown in the bottle. That's inebriated support is never a good support. I've never heard anybody go, oh man, you know what I could use right now is the support of my drunk uncle. Nobody's ever like, yeah, your advice is good, but can you drink a fifth of Jack and then come back and give me advice? I like when you're just absolutely blacked out to give me advice. Dude, yes. Oh, well, let's talk about your relationship, man. Like, I know she's been like kind of like going at you a little bit, and you feel like things are on the rock, but you can work stuff out with her. Yeah, dude, I know what you're saying, but like, I never like this advice when you're sober. Will you go just slam half a pint of vodka and then come back and tell me, let me tell you about your bitch girlfriend of yours? Yes, yeah. Nobody's ever asking for that advice. That's the worst advice you can ever get is when one of your friends is fucking hammered. It's so funny. There's bad emotional intelligence. That's why you're drinking like that. You want to hide your emotional intelligence, which actually leads me into the article I found this week, guys. Because apparently emotional intelligence is a thing. I didn't know about it until I found this article. So I'm going to read this to you guys, and we're going to break it down because you're probably wondering what it is too. And apparently there's phrases you can use because this article is called, if you use these 13 phrases every day, you might have a higher emotional intelligence than most psychology experts. Okay, so you might have emotional intelligence. I don't know what it is. Let's see if they explain it. Do you have an knack for connecting with people? Emotional intelligence is the ability to identify and understand emotions, both your own and the emotions of others. I'm already out. Like, I know I have emotions. I'm a way too much of an emotional person, to be honest. I feel like that most of the time. Like, I feel like I don't have a good grasp on them, and I feel stuff all the time. I think I know what other people are feeling. I have no idea. Okay. I assume I've always making them feel bad. I've read a book about that. I can't remember what it's called. It's like Mind Wise, I think is what it's called. And it's a whole book from a psychologist explaining how most of us are always completely wrong on what we think other people are thinking. That's the premise of the whole book. And it makes so much sense. They did studies with people who've been married for fucking like 35, 50 years, and they don't even know what the other person's thinking. You know, you would think after that time you might have a little bit of an idea, but you don't. But I'm already out on the emotional intelligence. Maybe you guys are. Let's find out. Research has shown it's a rare and valuable asset. Okay, see, that makes me feel better. It's rare. This emotional intelligence is like a holographic Charizard, okay? You just don't stumble into emotional intelligence every day. Emotional intelligence can help you build and strengthen relationships, diffuse conflicts, and improve your overall job satisfaction. Well, cool. You can use it in the workplace. That's always fun. Psychologist experts say that if you use these 13 phrases every day without even thinking about it, you have a higher emotional intelligence than most people. You have to use all 13, and you have to use the unlucky 13 because you're high emotional intelligence. If you don't use this unlucky number, then it doesn't offset your ability to feel people's emotions, and then it can cause a black hole to open up and destroy the entire world. So if you don't use all of them and give yourself bad luck with your emotional intelligence, you will destroy the world. Okay? So be responsible if you are emotionally intelligent. Okay, let's find out what these phrases are, I guess, you guys. Could you tell me more about that? People who lack self-awareness only care about their own thoughts and opinions, but emotionally intelligent people are interested in how others feel and what they have to say. Communicate in a way to encourage people to talk about their feelings and experiences, and use their responses as a learning opportunity. I mean, that's good advice. You should definitely try to always encourage people to talk more about themselves. It's so interesting, too. You'll notice this if you pay attention to it enough. I notice it. Uh, I try to start conversations, and I will start conversations by asking somebody a question or whatever, and they'll start talking and answering the question. And I don't necessarily always ask the question so I can answer, but I'm hoping it'll start the conversation. Like they'll go and then they'll be like, "Oh, have you ever thought about that?" Like they bring up another topic and they go, "Do you know anything about that?" And it's like, "Oh, you did." You go back and forth. You ever just ask somebody a question and then they answer it and they do it like they really get into the answer and talking about whatever it is in their aspect, and then they just never reciprocate. They just stop their point and just look off into the distance. It's like, what is happening? I guess we're not going to talk then? Cool. Uh, that is lack of self-awareness, I guess, in its own right. Your own thoughts and opinions. How do you learn anything if you only care about your own thoughts and opinions? It's got to be crazy. I hear you. Guys, I hear you guys. I just want to let you know that. I do hear you. Even though you guys aren't putting out a podcast that I can listen to, I do hear you guys. I hear your complaints and your concerns. By telling someone you understand them, it sets up a cooperative environment perfect for team building. Other similar phrases like as I see what you mean and I get what you are driving at signal that you are truly listening and opening up lines of communications. Or you could just be saying that to be so they'll just stop talking and be like, I hear what you're saying. Now I'm going to say stuff at you. A lot of people do that. They use that I hear you as a way to put up a fucking stop sign and be like, you're repeating yourself. Stop. I understand what you are saying, but this phrase is another important aspect of emotional intelligence, the ability to act diplomatically when dealing with difficult people and situations. If you disagree with someone, express the in a tactful way, a non-confrontal way. The goal is to make it easier to arrive to a mutual agreement to the solution. Yeah, that's where I think we have a lot of problems in today's world because nobody's trying to say they understand what the other person is saying. It's just everybody's screaming, you're wrong. We don't have time for nuance for you to understand points, okay? And no one when you're trying to say that to them, they're not trying to understand. um, how do you feel about that? Makes people feel acknowledged and respected, and pay attention and take time to understand and empathize with them. As you listen, make an effort to put yourself in their shoes in a meaningful way. Yeah, because then you're just at least checking in on them to see how they feel about a certain situation. I mean, how often are you just talking at somebody or trying to make a plan and you're not like stepping in and asking how's that sound or what do we think? Was there any input you have on it? There's so many people just like we're gonna do this and this and this and this and buy the fucking book. And goddamn, does that get old fast? Uh, I'm not sure what's wrong. Could you explain that problem? With this phrase, you know that someone is having an issue, and instead of reacting negatively, you invite them to share their thoughts. Similar alternatives. Can you clarify that for me? Or what I'm hearing from you is that X, that is, what I'm hearing from you is that X. Is that right? Yeah, that's the one I hit him with too, because like I just want to make half the time I'm just like, dude, I just don't understand most things. I don't. I really don't, and I'm trying to keep up. I just want to make sure I'm on the same page with everybody. I'm trying to be liked. I'm trying to make sure I understand the plights. I'm trying to make sure I'm understanding whatever the situation or the goal or the tactic is. Dude, just slow down for 2 seconds and be like, hey, can I ask you a question? Because what you're saying, this doesn't make sense, and I don't understand what we're trying to do. He's got us pump the brakes, kid. I gotta know what that means. I don't understand your fancy book language. What do you mean? When you ask someone to clarify, you're asking them to say something a different way and provide more information so you understand them better. This is a different form of asking a person to repeat something. Um, yeah, and that always helps too. I think it's you guys ever been in a meeting or talking with somebody and they just say a point that you've heard? Like I've been doing this lately. If I hear somebody use a phrase that I've heard a lot of people repeating and just kind of regurgitating or just saying it, I will say, what do you mean by that? Or what does that mean? And then to have them try to explain it is always sometimes fun because they've never thought about what it actually means or tried to break it down in their own way. They're just parroting something. I'm guilty of it. I've fucking done that shit. Of course I have. We're all subjective to it. And it's just, you should get called out on it because if you're going to say something, you should be able to explain it in multiple ways and explain it in a linear fashion that anybody could understand. But sometimes we just get stuck in these things of just like, I'm just going to say this in just this phrase and we'll just call it good. It's like, perfect example, like, or not even a perfect example, but just like things, like common phrases. Like a lot of people say things and you're like, oh, I didn't even know what the origins of that was. I'm reading this book about pirates, and one of the things they said, like, they scoured and looked for them through the four corners of the world, and when you hear that, right, like that's a common phrase. They searched far and wide through the four corners of the world, and people just kind of know that phrase. It's a thing that's been hit. But reading this book, and just because they've talked and I've seen map diagrams in it, I just finally put it together, the fact that when they say they searched the four corners of the world for him, it's because maps used to be just, they're square pieces of paper. The whole world was on a square, so you searched the four corners of the world for them. And I was like, wow, I didn't ever even thought about that. Like, it's just, if I'd asked that, somebody would have had to explain it to me. And sometimes you don't know. It happens a lot with sayings. I will say that, where you're just like, can you tell me what that actually means or where it came from? The old sayings are so fascinating when you start breaking them down. Great job. Show appreciation goes a long way. That's pretty self-explanatory. You both have good points. Let's see how we can work together. This is a phrase that helps diplomatically work through trouble spots by acknowledging different points of view. Once you encourage someone to share their concerns, you can more easily solve the potential problem. Studies show that the ability to resolve conflict is a trademark of emotional intelligence. Yeah, and I just run from those. I want to slither away from conflict as much as possible. It's like I just don't want to deal with it. Let's just get the fuck away from this. I'll let somebody else deal with that. It's such a bad trait. I'm trying to work on it, going at it head on, but man, is it tough. I'd love your input on this. As a phrase similar to the ones like, "Can I get your advice from you?" or "Do you mind if I ask for some input?" It allows someone to feel proud of themselves, which makes them think very positively of you. Because you're giving them props. You're like, "Hey, you know some shit I don't know, and I need some help." Yeah, that's of course you do. Like, it's weird how many people are so against asking for help. Dude, just ask for help. It's good. It's gonna make life so much easier. There's people everywhere who know so much more than you. Just ask. Just ask the question or Google it. I know it's not directly asking somebody, but at least somebody out there has answered it for you. It'll be in a 15-minute YouTube video where you have to hear them talk about like liking and subscribing to their channel a couple times, but you'll get the answer. You want to hear somebody tell you to like and subscribe to their YouTube channel all the time? Do you? Do you want to do that? Well, then, if you don't want to hear that, go ask your coworker Bob across the aisle. He'll ask you and not expect you to give him a thumbs up and a rate and review. Ask people in the real world for advice and you don't have to deal with it. This situation makes me worried. Okay. Then there's a problem. Emotional intelligence people don't focus on the person who created it, but on the overall situation. The way you're not blaming someone to putting them on the defensive side. Instead, you're explaining how you feel about what happened, which helps you avoid sounding passive aggressive or antagonistic. Oh, okay. I've never actually seen the word antagonistic written out. That's interesting. I don't know why I never thought it looked that way. Yeah, don't be passive aggressive. Just be actively aggressive, you guys. If someone, that's where I'm done doing that. If someone starts doing shit like that, I'm just like, no, you are the problem. And then it's funny because then they get defensive, which does not help the situation at all. It's a terrible way to actually resolve conflict, but that's what I've been doing. I feel this way about when you're emotionally intelligent, you connect with your emotions as they happen in the moment. This type of self-awareness allows you to be better share your own emotions and impressions on others, which both makes them feel closer to you and encourages them to do the same. I'm sorry. Having a healthy dose of humanity is a common among the highly emotional intelligence. Don't be afraid to say I'm sorry when you make a mistake. Admit it and genuinely apologize to whoever deserves it. Yeah, don't be like me and just say I'm sorry. Just to get this conversation be over. Doing the dumb shit that you do. Thank you. It's the magic. Don't forget to use the magic word. Thank you is a good one. I overuse that one, but goddamn, I say thank you to a lot of people, and I hope it means a lot to them. You know, there's enough people out there who are doing jobs that they just don't get thanked for all the time, or doing just little things, and it's like, yo, thank you for helping me with this, the sheet, the Johnson account. If you didn't help me with this and figure that out, it would have caused even more problems that eventually we even got to you and caused problems in your work. Or just, thanking somebody for ringing you out at a gas station. Like, they probably don't hear it that often. Just say thanks. They appreciate it. Or if they hear it too often and they've become numb to it. I don't know. But you should be saying thank you, you fucking heathens, Just like I'm telling you, thank you for listening to the episode, guys. That's right. We're at the end of the episode. Thank you for listening. Not worth the time. If you like this show, you want to head on over to punandgame.com where you can find more shows like this, guys. It's crazy. There's all sorts of podcasts there. So go check those out. And then head over to youtube.com where you can watch this show. What? And clips of stand-up. It's fucking crazy over there. You can do all sorts of fun stuff there at YouTube at Comic Wade Taylor. So go check that out. Subscribe to that and do that. Guys, like I said, Live shows, April 14th, Knoxville, Iowa, Peachtree Brewing Company. Come out to that. April 15th, Creston, Iowa, going to the Hot Air Brewing Company. Come out to that. That's going to be fun. So come out to those shows. It's going to be a great time. Don't forget to go to the Punting Game Shop. You guys know the drill. NWT Pod. NWT Pod. That gets you free shipping at checkout. To do that, get yourself a hoodie, something nice. Get yourself a t-shirt. Represent your favorite shows at puntinggame.com. You'll love it. I know you will. Guys, this has been not worth the time. I'm glad you stuck it out with me. I'm glad we got a good episode in. Got some laughs in. Learned a few things about ourselves, and things went great. Guys, have a great rest of your week. And remember, don't do anything I wouldn't do.